What's new on Grab It TV? Absolutely everything. We've got daily news shows, sports, weather, comedy, inspirational shows, fast cars, and a whole lot more. If you aren't watching Grab It TV, you're really missing out. It's free for you and free from censorship. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Super Bowl week in the National Football League. You're watching World of Matchups, sponsored by Insurance Lounge. My name is Dexter Reed, and I have been your host all season, and I will continue to be your host today and every single football week moving forward for the rest of our natural-born lives. Coming to you guys live and direct from the Grab It television studios in sunny Las Vegas, Nevada. To my right, I have got a man that needs no introduction anywhere in a civilized, free world. On the controls, Mr. Spencer the Wiz. Spencer, say what's up to the people, bro.
What's going on? What a season we've had. I mean, it's crazy to think it is finally the last week of the NFL season.
I don't know what I'm going to do next week.
Cry. I don't know. There's no football.
I'm kind of sad about it, honestly. All things happening in the NFL are about to come straight to you, folks. Despite there being no game last week, there has been no shortage of quality content to put out, and we will start by doing that right now with the quick hitters. Let's roll. Last night, the Associated Press NFL Awards, they held their little gala event. Everybody looked real nice. Aaron Rodgers needs a haircut, but that's neither here nor there. And these are the categories that were voted in. MVP, everybody knew it was going to be Mr. Aaron Rodgers. If you thought it was going to be Tom Brady, you were wrong. Back-to-back MVPs for the most surly player in the National Football League, but it is deserved. Offensive Player of the Year. The chalk was Cooper Kupp, and the chalk hit, and that's what it should have been. Cooper Kupp was an unstoppable force in every game you watch this year, and he's going to be an unstoppable force when you watch him Super Bowl Sunday. Defensive Player of the Year, I told everybody it was T.J. Watt, and it was deserved. The guy was a one-man wrecking crew on and off the field. He was a great player, great presence to have. Everybody on that defense was better because of him, and he missed 2 games. Truthfully, he would have broken that sack record if he would have played those games. Offensive Rookie of the Year, easy call, Jamar Chase. I think you could have handed him the award after he rolled the Kansas City Chiefs in that game they played January 2nd. The guy with the ball in his hands is absolutely electric. We're going to be watching his career with a level of enthusiasm we haven't seen since Randy Moss was a rookie. Defensive Rookie of the Year, very easily, was the Penn State Punisher, Mr. Micah Parsons. Dallas's defense, for the most part, was a whole lot better this year, and it was because of guys like Micah Parsons. This guy, you can line him up all over the field. He's an absolute mammoth player. The guy's got heart, hits hard, knows how to tackle, and he makes everybody around him better. This was easy. The chalk straightforward for Micah Parsons, Defensive Rookie of the Year. Coach of the Year, this one's a little debatable, but I don't have an issue with it. Mike Vrabel wins. I think he did more with less. He got nothing out of Julio Jones. A.J. Brown was hurt all year, and Derrick Henry went down for most of the year. And they still finished as the 1 seed. And if they would have got the call they should have gotten at home, there's a good chance that they could have gone to the Super Bowl. I like Mike Vrabel. I've always liked this guy. He's got stones. He's got heart. The guy would actually put on a set of pads and go out there and play himself if the NFL would allow him to. Honorable mention, I think Sean McVay, Sean McDermott. These guys had to be in the conversation. I mean, for what they did this year with their teams. But the award goes to the regular season head coach and the regular season players. So we tip our cap to you, Mike Vrabel. Congratulations on a well-deserved honor. And comeback player of the year. I thought it had to be Deebo Samuel, but everyone gave it to Joe Burrow, and they did give it to Joe Burrow. I've got no problem with Joey Burrow. The guy's got ice in his veins. To have that kind of a major surgery and come back from that and now be in the Super Bowl it's a storybook. And if they win the Super Bowl, it's a Cinderella story. I think Joe Burrow, there's a lot of Tom Brady in Joe Burrow. You're going to see – get used to hearing this guy's name is basically what I'm saying. And while I like Debo, I think they got this right because of the level and the extent of the injury that it was to be coming back, 12 months later and to be about to go to Disneyland. It's almost unwarranted that it even happens. And like we talk about every single week, Spencer, Joe Burrow has never lost at anything, ever.
The most interesting part about all of this to me is people say that it could be another Dan Marino, where he gets to the Super Bowl in his second year, you never see him back again. I hope that's not the case. It doesn't seem like it is, but I guess we'll have to see.
I hope it's not the case for a lot of guys. It could be Joe Burrow. It could be Patrick Mahomes. Could end up being Dan Marino with a ring. It's like you want to see these new crop of NFL quarterbacks win multiples because that's what we're used to seeing. The Manning brothers, you know what I mean? Tom Brady's. You want to see these guys. You want to really witness greatness like that. I mean, that's what the NFL is about. I'm bigger and better and stronger and just going to be better than you. And I think that there's not a quarterback right now that we're seeing that from. I mean, we saw Nick Foles win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's weird. And we place a lot of expectations on these guys. A lot of expectations. So Joe Burrow doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would fall to something like that, but, you
never know.
You never know.
Every year is different in the National Football League. Next, the Saints promoted their DC, Dennis Allen, to be their HC. They interviewed Eric Bieniemy for like 50 hours, but decided to stay with Dennis Allen. We all knew that they would. Eric Bieniemy couldn't get a job if his mother was the one who was hiring. I don't dislike this move, but I don't like it as much as I've liked some of the others. The Saints don't have a quarterback. They're in cap hell. Alvin Kamara just nearly beat someone to death. It's messy down south. And now they name this guy. Sean Payton was right to get out when he did. I'm not sure how I feel about Dennis Allen. Your thoughts on this guy?
This is a very Orlando Magic move here. They hired a head coach who no one's really heard of because the team's going to stink, and they don't want to pay a guy to coach a stinking team.
Yeah.
So that's
really the bottom line.
He'll become the defensive coordinator again in a couple years when they feel they have the draft assets or whatever. But they don't want to pay guys. Organizations, as much money as they make, they will nickel and dime every single dollar they can get out of their franchises.
And
it's
how
it works.
Is. That's just how it works in the National Football League. Next, the Texans promoted DC Lovie Smith to HC. I have a real problem with this. I really don't think that if Brian Flores kept his mouth shut, Lovie Smith would be the head coach of the Texans, but that's neither here nor there. When you think about a lame duck coach right now, I think about Lovie Smith. You basically just gave David Culley $22 million for 1 year. You should have just kept David Culley. You should have just kept this guy. Now it's a nightmare. You've got Lovie Smith. They're saying that they're not going to hire a DC. He's going to coach the defense and be HC. I can't think of a worse franchise to set a coach up to fail right now than what you're seeing happening in Houston. It's an absolute tire fire. The Deshaun Watson mess has not been rectified. You've got no decent players. Brandon Cooks is old. It's a nightmare.
Bad franchises make bad moves.
This is a bad move. And I know that they're trying to appease everybody. I kind of feel like the Houston Texans behind closed doors were like, yo, let's throw the NFL a bone and hire a black coach.
I could not agree with you more.
And I know y'all don't want to hear that. I know you don't. And
that's
look,
a Roger Goodell saying
it's
a spot us one.
It's look out for us and we'll look out for you somewhere down the line.
Yeah.
I know you guys don't want to hear this.
Oh, it's
you know
so
what
true.
I mean? But again, we try not to get into all the craziness, but we're here to report the news. And my opinion is part of the show. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch. But nobody can talk me off the fact that if Brian Flores never sued the league, that Lovie Smith would be head coach of the Texans. You can't talk me off it. And the fact that Josh McCown was even in the running is an absolute joke. Josh McCown has never done anything in his life in the National Football League, more or less be a head coach. And you're trying to we're not falling for the okie doke. Okay, the banana in the tailpipe doesn't work at World of Matches. We see right through what you guys are doing. And I like Lovie Smith. I think Lovie Smith got jobbed in Chicago. But this is just setting a person up to fail completely. It's a nightmare. I wish him well. And I'm happy that he got the job, but it's awful. And shave that terrible beard, bro. All right. Look, we're going to update both Super Bowl teams' tight ends they're just banged up. C.J. Uzoma, sprained knee. Tyler Higbee, sprained knee. Neither one of these guys are practicing at all in any capacity. But I'll tell you what, I'll be shocked if they're not out there on Sunday. There's a needle in those offices with both their names on it, and they're going to play. They're not missing the biggest games of their lives. And so during the pep rally for the Bengals, Uzoma's out there. He's hobbling around. He's got the brace on his knee. Roll film, Spencer. He's out there hyping everybody up. He takes the brace off and tosses it in the air. Bro, there's a doctor somewhere that's like, you got to chill.
This is like WWE, where they fake injuries and they tear off their things, but the only problem is that it's not a fake injury. His knee's actually busted
bro.
up.
You're like hobbling around like you're about to be playing the biggest game of your life.
He's higher than a kite.
4 days. Yeah, Percocets, Tramadol, Demerol. They gave him
probably some drugs that aren't even available to the public.
Oh yeah, he's got a pharmaceutical cocktail washed down with a Red Bull, bro. Like there's no way that you should.
That's
be
a
doing
4-week
that.
injury.
Yeah, seriously. But you know what's funny? Both guys will play.
Yeah, for
in
sure.
some capacity, or at least just be out there to be a decoy. I think Uzoma will play a lot more than Higbee. From what I'm hearing, Higbee is really bad. He's really bad. He may not go, but I'm here to tell you, you work hard all year long for this one moment. You spend your entire life trying to get there. I can't see these guys not being out there. I mean, he will be begging Sean McVay on his hands and knees to please put me in, coach. Next. This one pissed me off, and I knew this was going to happen. I told you guys it was going to happen. Why? Because Raiders are going to Raider, okay? Rich Bisaccia is hired by the Green Bay Packers to coach their special teams. An absolute perfect fit. If Green Bay had any special teams, they would have gone deeper in the playoffs. The special teams is abysmal. What I saw Rich Bisaccia do with the Las Vegas Raiders this year is nothing short of miraculous. And, of course, they got jobbed because for them, the grass is always greener somewhere else. That man deserved to be head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, and they didn't even give him his just due. Just pull the interim tag for a year, get better. The players loved this guy, and he did everything right. What did Rich Bisaccia do wrong? He didn't do one thing wrong. Not one. And he was one pass away from beating the Bengals. One pass with nothing, without Darren Waller, without Henry Ruggs, and you let this guy go. You got to retain this guy in some capacity. I don't care if he's the water boy. You cannot let this guy go to another team, and that's exactly what they did. Raiders are going to Raider, and they're going to rue the day they let this guy go. I'm telling you, I'm not a Josh McDaniels fan. Your thoughts on Rich Bisaccia?
Yeah. Well, when you bring in a new head coach, as much as whatever the circumstances were before, they're going to bring in their own staff.
Brutal.
It's brutal. And they got rid of Gus Bradley, too.
Brutal.
Which
that was
really,
another brutal.
Guy was
brutal.
the best defensive coordinator in the past 20 years that's been on the team. So, I mean, they ended up picking up the Giants DC, so they had a pretty decent year given their circumstances. That's just how it works, man.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I know.
You are trying to ascend, so you're already ascending. You get to one point where no one thinks you're supposed to be. You're supposed to go now further up. I think they've taken a huge step backwards. I don't get it. I don't understand. It's like your girl is hot. She's hot. And you see a hotter girl, right? But she's not your girl. Why are you going to go try to holler at the hotter girl? Your girl is already hot. She's everything you want her to be, but you're over there looking, bro, epic fail. Epic fail.
Raider Nation.
Raiders gonna Raider, man. This is going to come back to bite y'all, I'm telling you. Next, former 49ers OC Mike McDaniel has been hired to coach the Miami Dolphins. Nobody can tell me that this guy's going to be better than Brian Flores. This guy didn't even call plays. Now, I know he's got a great personality. I know he's good with the media. He's going to get along with everybody. He's Mr. Kumbaya. I get that. But where are the X's and O's here? You know, go look at his rap sheet and what he's done. This guy deserved a head coaching position. This guy looks like he sells insurance for a living.
He looks like he got his lunch money taken.
I beat this guy up in high school. You know what I mean?
Agree.
Like, and I get that, like, Brian Flores rubbed people the wrong way, and they're allowed to do whatever they want to do. It's their team, not my team. And I don't know about this hire. There's a lot of these hires that have happened this year that I think are just gaslit. They're all gaslit. They're fireworks that are about to go off, and not in a good way. And I think that this could be one of them. But they bring this guy in with the focus of getting Tua to where they want Tua to be. They want Tua to be the college Tua, which is not going to translate into the National Football League, folks. I'm here to tell you, I don't think Tua is that good. I don't. I said it a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to double down on it right now. I think Davis Mills is every bit as good as Tua, and he is the quarterback for the Houston Texans. So I wish this guy luck. They bring him in. They like him. They hire him. Again, being great with the media doesn't necessarily equate to being a good head coach. Next, the Pro Bowl was an unmitigated disaster. It was an absolute joke. My God. Whatever happened to the days of going to the Pro Bowl and it being like an honor to go, where you were trying to be better than the next guy and showcase your talents to the whole entire world? And kudos to guys like Shannon Sharp for going in on the Pro Bowl, and a lot of other guys. NFL Twitter went crazy about this game. It was like two-hand touch. I swear, it looked like those guys were here drinking in Las Vegas and decided to wake up and then go to the game. Every other play was a pick. There was no competitive nature to it. AG Magic was trying to get me to go. My friend Matt Bone hit me up that morning. You want to go? I got a free ticket. Hell no, I don't want to go. Why do I want to go watch? And then so I get home from church, right? And I turn on some of it just because I have to do that. I'm World of Matchups. I got to see what's going on. I got through about 2 minutes of it. The Patrick Mahomes interception, followed by the Russell Wilson interception. I don't want to see guys try to do the gritty. What was Mac Jones doing? What are you doing?
Oh, yeah.
Come on. I want to see a competitive game. That means something, and none of these guys care. Well, I'm hurt. It's the end of the season. I'm not going to risk my free agents. Then you shouldn't be out there. You shouldn't be out there. And Shannon Sharp is 100% right. Deion Sanders chimed in, too. It's an absolute embarrassment. I want to see this. Run tape. This is what I want to see when I turn on the Pro Bowl. Real competitive nature. Okay? Just think it's 2007. Sean Taylor lays Moomin out. That's football. That's I am better than you. That's what the Pro Bowl is all about, to let you know that I got voted in here and I should be here. And the voting for the Pro Bowl needs to change.
Yeah, well,
it needs to change.
There's a lot of things that have to change. Honestly, I don't think it'll never be like that.
It will never be like that again.
But I think if they go to like flag football, like it could be even more competitive. Or I like the idea of flag football, and I think NHL kind of does it really good too. They had like a little mini tournament. So you remember I don't know if you ever played this game, NFL Street, where it's like you pick a roster. We should do that, where quarterbacks have to play defense. You know what I'm saying? Like make it a little more entertaining. So it's like you have these little like 5-man teams, and you have these little mini tournaments. I don't know, but
it's about
they can't
the
do
fans.
this again.
This cannot happen again.
No.
And when we get to the mailbag, we'll talk about this a little more. But this is absolutely egregious. This is a big stain on the NFL, especially when you consider that the NHL was here in Vegas the same weekend having their NHL All-Star game, and what they did was it was great.
It was more entertaining. That's all. It doesn't
great.
have to be the same product.
It's about the fans.
Just make it fun.
The fans vote you in. Make it fun for the fans.
Yeah.
People are paying in excess of $200 a ticket to see that. That's disgusting. I mean, come on. It was so bad. This has been the worst Pro Bowl in the last 20 years, and it's bad every single year. And I swear, ever since they left Hawaii, it has not been good. They should just go back to Hawaii. Next, Alvin Kamara was arrested in Las Vegas for battery resulting in substantial bodily harm the night before the Super Bowl, okay? Look, coming straight from the Vegas Police Department, Kamara was arrested hours after conclusion of the Pro Bowl. The statement states that the incident occurred at a nightclub on February 5th. So, of course, we're in Vegas. These guys don't know how to act, okay? No one's advocating for any of these guys. I'm Big Bad Alvin Kamara, me and my crew, my entourage. We're at Sapphires or Spearmint Rhino, wherever we're at, wherever the infraction took place. And it had something to do with getting in an elevator, and a guy kind of was maybe pushed his way into the elevator or kind of cut them. Somebody got their feelings hurt. I can guarantee alcohol's involved. And they beat this guy within an inch of his life. Show this picture. I mean, my God. Good Lord. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news. And believe me when I tell you, like, there was some other egregious stuff in the NFL that I left out because I just didn't want to keep talking about bad news after bad news after bad news. But this is Alvin Kamara. This is a top 10 player in the National Football League. We have to look at this, okay? What are you doing? What are you doing? This is terrible. Now the Saints have to get involved. The NFL, and where's Roger Goodell? What does it take for Roger Goodell to make a statement on something? Dear God, this guy bullied this guy they're stomping this guy. And when they asked Kamara what happened, he was like, well, I saw some of my homies run after him and start punching him. So I went after him and I started punching him too. Really? That's what you're going with, bro? What is wrong with these NFL players? I think they all have CTE. You have millions and millions of dollars at stake. None of you have learned. Ray Rice, Kareem Hunt, none of you guys have learned. Henry Ruggs. I could sit here and I can just roll off names of the dumbest players in the National Football League. Damon Arnett, guys pulling guns, guys beating each other up. For what? You have it made. You have it made. You have a life that no one will ever have, and you do it by doing this. He probably stepped on his guy's Air Force Ones. That's probably what set it off. And they beat this guy to death. I can't take it anymore, man. Who knows? This guy will probably be playing in the USFL soon. There's going to be a lengthy suspension. I'm guaranteeing that. There'll be a huge fine. And it's on a team that is a sinking ship right now.
Well, that's the hope, is that there's going to be suspension. Joe Mixon knocked a girl out, and he's playing in the he has a big contract, and he's playing in the Super Bowl. I mean, he destroyed that girl.
That girl looks like a man now. Brutal.
So if nothing happens, then it's going to keep happening.
Nothing happens. If nothing changes, nothing changes. Welcome to the National Football League, which stands for not for long, if your hopes are for there being some kind of accountability and justice. Next, Brian Flores' attorney, Doug Wigdor, and John, I can't even pronounce this other guy's last name. They said that Roger Goodell's memo to the league and the owners was more of a publication relations ploy than a real commitment to change. And it was. We all know, I mean, it wasn't even signed, Roger Goodell. We all know that he didn't write that. Someone wrote that for him. First of all, we know that he didn't mean it. Roger Goodell is a deflector, and that's why the owners love him, because there'll never be any real accountability. They're going to get away with murder. The NFL is nothing but a bank. That's it. It's almost like a money laundering scheme. They're going to do whatever they can to keep the product moving. And I know a lot of people don't like Jason Whitlock. You know, people calling Jason Whitlock a coon and Uncle Tom. Look, I'm not getting in all that. I don't agree with a lot of what Jason Whitlock says, but he is 100% right here, okay? It is ridiculous. You can go back to Colin Kaepernick, Bountygate, Spygate. The NFL turns its back on any and everything and then throws little fines and slaps on the wrist when it's absolutely needed, because they know they're going to get in trouble if they don't. And so I've been going in on Roger Goodell for years, since we started this show. You know how I feel about Roger Goodell. To me, he's public enemy number one. And at the end of the day, this Brian Flores thing is not going to get settled anytime soon. And when it does, it's going to happen one of two ways. Flores is going to take them all the way to the Supreme Court, and they're going to choke each other out on the mat, or they're going to write him a $500 million check to go away. And that's how the NFL does business, and that's who Roger Goodell is. I wouldn't trust Roger Goodell to pick up my child from school. I wouldn't. Roger Goodell is the most crooked man in all of America. He's unbelievable. He's the white Don King, and he gets away with it. It's unbelievable. Next, ESPN's Jameson Hensley, reports that Lamar Jackson is expected to exceed $40 million annually on his next contract. To me, that would be the biggest mistake in the world. I wouldn't give Lamar Jackson $40,000 annually. The guy's not a good quarterback, and I'm never going to back off this. He is an elite athlete. I don't care what the market dictates.
I think you can win with a top 15 quarterback in any situation, but he has to be on a contract scale. You can win. I think you can win a Super Bowl with Derek Carr. As crazy as much as I've criticized him, you can, as long as he isn't making 15% of your salary cap.
Ridiculous.
I mean, Lamar Jackson needs a lot of help in order for his we all know he's a crazy athlete and he can run the ball.
He's a freak.
But you got to be able to give him some really good wide receivers that are going to fill in the gaps for him for his passing.
He's
ability.
not a pocket passer. You know what I mean? When you're drawing up backyard football, that's who Lamar Jackson is. And I know I hate on him and poo-poo on him. I've kind of flip-flopped on him. You know, folks, look. Tell me the plays that you saw this year for Lamar Jackson that would warrant, in a contract year, giving him $40 million a year. I can't think of many. You know, he beat the Chiefs after not beating the Chiefs for a while. But, CEH dropped the ball. The Chiefs win that game if Hilaire owns that, if he holds that ball. I mean, $40 million a year, That's Patrick Mahomes status. You're going to put Lamar Jackson in the same status as Patrick Mahomes?
And the Chiefs are going to struggle because of Patrick Mahomes' contract, and that's how Patrick Mahomes is
And
probably
he's
the best quarterback in the league. And they're going to struggle because of that. So if you superimpose that to the Baltimore Ravens now,
They're
that's
done.
really bad.
You're putting all your money with a guy that can't throw the ball downfield. Terrible. But that's why we're sitting here, and that's why they're sitting there.
I guess so.
I guess so. NFL's Network's Tom Pelissero also reports that the Chiefs' OC Eric Bieniemy's contract is expiring or has expired. So, Eric Bieniemy, like I said earlier, can't get a job anywhere. It's been 4 years of this. It's ridiculous. I think he's deserved at least a shot somewhere. Even the most terrible jobs, nobody will hire him. It's gotten to the point where he's not really even interviewing for jobs. Now he comes back to Kansas City with no contract. I'm thinking that they'll bring him back, but you never know. You know what I mean? After one winning Super Bowl year, after 4, 5, 6 failed attempts since he's been there in 2016, he may decide to go OC somewhere else. I haven't heard any real new news on any gas being behind him leaving. I mean, he does love Andy Reid, Kelsey, Mahomes, Hill. They all love him. It's going to be interesting to watch this one play out. If he does leave Kansas City, I think this could be the beginning of the end of the Chiefs. I really do. A lot of people don't give Eric Bieniemy his flowers. And I know it's Andy Reid gets all the credit, but, Andy Reid doesn't do this thing by himself. He doesn't win by himself, and he doesn't lose by himself. And I know I go after Andy Reid a lot, but Eric Bieniemy is a good coach that deserves a shot. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Next, Rams coach Sean McVay says it's looking optimistic that Darrell Henderson will play Sunday. He's been out for a while. He was on IR, came back. He was the hot new thing at the beginning of the year. If they get this guy on the field at all, now you have a three-headed monster with him, Michelle, and then, newly rejuvenated Cam Akers has come back from the tomb. I think it's going to be a lot to ask the Cincinnati defensive front to handle this run game. I think they're in trouble personally, and if they get anything out of Henderson, I see the Rams winning this game by at least a touchdown. Next, Titans signed head coach Mike Vrabel to a contract extension. Terms are undisclosed at this time. I think it's well-deserved. I like Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel could coach my team any day of the week. He's got stones. He's a decent head coach. He's got good defensive mindset. He's got the right people around him. He makes Ryan Tannehill look better than he really is, and he's got Derrick Henry. He's earned this. I'd say it's probably going to be in the ballpark of maybe 3 to 5 years. Who knows how much annually. I mean, he won't get John Gruden money, but he's deserving of every cent, especially now that he's won Coach of the Year. Mike Vrabel's sitting pretty, and Tennessee is a nice place. It's a good town with good people. They've had some they've made hay over the last couple of years. They've gone to that Super Bowl one time. They're in a good spot. They need to do some things in the draft, but I like Mike Vrabel, and I'm happy he got this. The NFL next. The NFL has announced that Germany will host a regular season game each of the next 4 seasons. So now we're moving from London to Germany, Munich, Frankfurt. They're really trying to expand the game. I'm not a big fan. It'll be interesting to see how they attack this because the London games are always like Jacksonville versus the Jets at 6:30 a.m. They send the worst product over there. The people over there don't know any different. They don't care. They just want to see something new. They want to see how Americans get down on Sundays, and so that's what the NFL does. At the end of the day, it's about money. Now, the NFL was smart. They'd send like the Chiefs over there. They'd send a really good team over there. You know what I mean? They'd send the Packers over there. They'd send the Rams over there, but that'll never happen. You're going to end up seeing, you know what I mean, like the Detroit Detmer Bowl. It's going to be terrible. They're not going to send anyone good over there, which to me just equates to more money for them. If you're not going to sell a good product, don't sell a product at all. This is America's game, and I think it should be played and kept in America. But that's just me, and that's a whole different story. Next. The Washington Commanders. I got problems with this entire franchise, man. The name sucks. And now owner Dan Snyder is hiring an independent investigative team, right, to look into the sexual harassment allegations made by former Washington cheerleader and marketing manager Tiffany Johnson. Now, I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I would guarantee you that what Tiffany Johnson said happened. Okay? You don't steal someone's shit and then help them look for it, Spencer.
Hey, they're gonna figure it out. They're gonna get to the bottom of all
I'm
this.
going to hire somebody, an outside source, to investigate me for something someone said I did. Make it make sense. Good Lord.
I'm telling you, we talked about it before. It's like the CIA investigating itself for the whole drug epidemic that came out.
You kidding me?
We found that we did nothing wrong.
Anytime you hear something like this, the infractions happened. And we know Dan Snyder is dirty. He's dirty. Okay? They wouldn't have been investigating this guy to begin with. The emails that came out, they deflected, got John Gruden fired to take the heat off him. Now this is just more GM, coach, owner speak. Oh, we'll get someone. Because we just listened to it, folks. There was over 100,000 documents. I couldn't believe when they said that. Was that a typo? 100,000 sealed documents that Dan Snyder was not willing to open and release to the league. And the league is now forcing his hand. So now he's saying, I'll get my own investigative team to investigate me. Stop.
How is this legal?
This is the NFL. This is what I'm talking about. This is the NFL. Only in the NFL is stuff like this allowed to happen. That Tiffany Johnson, she must be pulling her hair out. You got to be kidding me. How is this allowed to happen? You know that they are going to exonerate this guy. She's going to be made to look like a tramp. She's going to be made to look like a liar. She's going to be made out to look like a hussy. That's how this works. Meanwhile, it probably all happened.
They had the smokescreen for John Gruden for a little bit, and now it's coming back, so they're trying to throw another one.
And I'm not saying that women don't lie, because there have been a million situations where the women later on comes out and says, oh, that wasn't true, and the guy's already did 5 years. But Dan Snyder's a scumbag. Okay? We know this. And there was the fire that we're just putting out from the John Gruden emails that got leaked. That fire's not even fully out yet.
Mm-mm.
Now this fire's smoldering. Come on, bro. Who's buying this? Really? Awful job. Washington Commanders, man, that's not a franchise I would ever want to play for, ever. You got to get that coach out of this. Dan Snyder is Donald Sterling of the National Football League. And if you don't know who Donald Sterling is, look up Donald Sterling and have a cup of coffee, because you're going to be reading for a while. All right, folks. That's it for the quick hitters or not so quick hitters. Before we jump into our Roast the Ref segment, there was no game last week, but I have gone out of my way to pick out the 5 most egregious calls of the entire NFL season just for you. But we want to tell you a little bit about our social media, because we're everywhere on social media. Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. We have a YouTube page where you can like, subscribe, get the information sent to you. But most of all, and most importantly, you can find us at Grab It Television, grabit.com. Grab It's free. You can put in an email address, sign up. There's a whole bunch of different shows, different content on Grab It. Think about if Netflix and YouTube had a baby, it would be Grab It Television, Grabet. Find World of Matchups there, and that's where we'll be. Every time we send new stuff out into the world, it'll come right to your email address, and you can enjoy it. Show us some love, and we'll show some back. You've been watching World of Matchups. That's Spencer the Wiz. I am Dexter Reed. Here comes Roast the Refs in 3, 2, 1. All right, folks, this is the time of the show where we roast the refs. I have chosen the 5 most egregious calls that I possibly could find out of the probably 250 that took place this calendar NFL season. And we are going to start with Darren Waller, number 5, on the road versus the Chargers. He's fired up. He spikes the ball. He's not looking at anybody. He had been held down to that point, gets his first catch. They call this taunting. Ridiculous. 15 yards taunting penalty. On who? There's a guy on Twitter every day. I'm going to give this guy some love. I forget his Twitter handle, but he types in remove taunting from the NFL. He's done it every day for like 4 years, or since the inception of taunting rule. Every day, you just go on there, it says remove taunting from the NFL at NFL Commish. Every day. He doesn't miss a day. And stuff like this is why. Absolutely ridiculous. The Raiders get jobbed repeatedly by the refs. We know this. Next, number 4. Frank Clark roughing the passer on Josh Allen. The Bills are doing pretty much whatever they want. Chiefs make a comeback. Clark gets a sack. To me, that looks like a clean sack. Takes the momentum right from the hands of the Chiefs. There will be no comeback. Roughing the passer, first down, 15 yards. The Chiefs would have got Bills off the field and get the ball back there.
It's too bang. It really, truly is. Like,
What are we supposed to do?
You have to give – first of all, these guys are like 250, like 300 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard for them to just stop on a dime. And
it's absolutely ridiculous.
He was there.
Yeah,
he was there.
I mean, come on. You cannot have that call made. Unbelievably bad, okay? Number 3. This one was a big one because this one absolutely cost the team a game, okay? This missed delay of game on Baltimore gave them the win when the Lions had them dead to rights. The play clock goes all the way down past 0, and then another 2 seconds, and no flag is thrown. No call is made. The Lions get absolutely jobbed here, and then it makes Baltimore look better than they truly are. Baltimore has won some games this year that they had no business winning. They should have lost to the Chiefs. They definitely should have lost this game at home. The refs absolutely missed this. And then they doubled down on it and didn't come through and say that they missed it, which is exactly what they do every single year. It's an absolute joke. Look, folks, the Lions are not as bad as you think they are. The Lions were in every game. A lot of these games, they fought hard for their coach. And then to have this one stolen from them was absolutely egregious. Number 2, ridiculous roughing the passer on the New England Patriots. Where's the roughing the passer? He doesn't even hit the guy. It's like a ghost penalty. Can somebody show? And then the refs, look at the 3 of them. They're standing there huddled up talking about it. Like, oh, you guys want to come over for a cold one later? Bro, what are you, like Martha's making chicken pot pies, Henry? Come over later. Dude. You have nothing to decide there. The guy did not touch the quarterback, and that's roughing the passer and 15 yards. Dear God, the NFL has trouble. Help us, Jesus. Fix it now. You cannot make that kind of call. And then coming in at number 1, you have to know what this is if you've watched football at all this year. Cassius Marsh.
Here, watch this again.
Absolutely jobbed here.
No, he's already reaching.
Out, throws the 15 yards.
That
play lost the Bears that Monday night game. I will never back off this. I believe that was Tony Correnti. That guy should be on a permanent vacation. You absolutely positively cannot do that in the NFL and get away with it. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely egregious. The Bears have a leg to stand on there because they got absolutely jobbed. And that's why that comes in at number 1. Cassius Marsh will never be remembered in the National Football League for anything but this call, and that's absolutely sad. Roasting the ref, sponsored by HeroesHeatingAndAir.com. Check out Heroes Heating and Air for all your service needs, and we will see you guys next year with more egregious BS calls coming from World of Matchups. Stay tuned. The mailbag is here. Tyrell Crosby is in the house. We are about to get it in here on World of Matchups. Don't go away. Welcome back to the show, everybody. This week's show is sponsored by Insurance Lounge. Finding an insurance plan that is right for you and your budget can be challenging. At Insurance Lounge, we can help you compare home, auto, life, health, and more insurance policies to find the one that works best for you. Our experts help with the insurance purchasing experience and make it easy and fun. Whether you're looking to help your teenage get their first car insurance plan or you're hoping to start a retirement assistance, Insurance Lounge has got you covered. Get a quote in the way that is most convenient for you, whether in person, online, or by calling the team at 866-459-2166. InsuranceLounge.com. Check it out. All right, folks, it's time for our mailbag show where you chime in and let us know what you want us to talk about, and then we throw in a lot of stuff that we want to talk about. Why? Because it's our show and we do what we want to do. All right, let's talk about first. My man, 50 grand, AG Magic says, what can we do to make the Pro Bowl better, as it was absolutely horrible? AG Magic was trying to get me to go. He's sitting in the stands with his wife, doesn't know much about football. He's trying to teach her about the game. And this was a pretty poor showing. So Spencer and I, we alluded to this earlier in the show. What can we do? Well, we can make it more of a skills competition, okay? I think having it in Las Vegas is great, because who doesn't love coming to Las Vegas? I met tons of people this weekend at my other job who were here just for the Pro Bowl. But it's about the fans. The fans want to be entertained. You know, I loved when the quarterbacks were, like, airing it out, throwing it as far as they can, being judged on that, trying to hit moving targets. If you're a great quarterback, showcase it to us. So let's get more of the skills competitions in. And look, if you're not going to tackle because you're fearful about getting hurt or you don't want to ruin your free agency, make it flag. Make it flag. because it might as well have been flagged, because what we saw last Sunday was absolutely egregious. It's unwarranted. When you're charging in excess of $200-$300 per ticket to sit in the stands and do that, the fans deserve a better product. Like I said, when it was in Hawaii, I know the players liked it a little bit more because you get a little bit of vacation. Another thing that I think they can do is obviously make more incentive laden. You know, the money that these guys are winning for a lot of this stuff is going to their favorite charity, but, you know, money talks. You want guys to produce, pay them. Look, you're already paying them $1 bazillion. What's another nickel here or dime there? The players are literally sacrificing their entire careers to entertain us, and I get that they don't want to get hurt, but Roger Goodell, you and the National Football League Players Association Committee have to do a better job of making this more palatable for the fans. When the NHL is in Las Vegas the same weekend doing their skills contest and it is killing what the NFL did, you know there's a major problem. Because when you look at the numbers for what the NFL does annually, viewership every year, and then you look at what the NHL does annually, viewership every year, it's not even close. Go back to the drawing board, get a piece of paper, get a pencil, and let's redo this whole thing. All right? Next. Discuss who was the best hire and who was the worst. You're going to be kind of surprised about this, okay? Who I thought was the best hire. To me, I easily thought Doug Peterson was the best hire. Easily. They found a gem. This guy was on the couch eating pink pock donuts for a year. He has a Super Bowl ring with Nick Foles. How was he not in the league? He goes to Jacksonville. You know Shad Khan will spend. So right off the bat, you've got an owner that will spend. You've got a number one quarterback, franchise quarterback, number one pick. It's sunny every single day. The expectations are low. You're going to get a nice contract. Why wouldn't you want to go to Jacksonville? That's the number one, in my mind, by far and away. That was the best free agent signing. You're not rolling the dice on an OC or a DC. You've got a guy with a proven track record that beat Tom Brady with Nick Foles. How is that guy not in the league? That's absolutely deplorable. Number one, worst head coaching hire of the National Football League offseason, my friend, is Mr. Matt Eberflus. And you cannot talk me off this. Chicago has been swimming down the toilet bowl ever since Trubisky. And they absolutely, if any team needed to make a splash, it is the Chicago Bears. Matt Eberflus, who ended his defensive coordinator season by getting their doors blown off in Jacksonville. That Matt Eberflus, who couldn't get in the playoffs as the Colts with Jonathan Taylor. That Matt Eberflus, that's the guy you're going to bring in? Horrible, capital H. Your thoughts?
They don't have it's not like they have a veteran quarterback who's like taking the reins and their defensive mind. No, they just drafted a rookie quarterback who had a very iffy year, given the circumstances, and you're going to give him a defensive-minded coach.
Oh, my goodness.
They better give Eric Bieniemy a blank check to come to their team to be the offensive coordinator, because otherwise it's going to be a colossal failure.
You have Justin Fields, okay, who in my mind was one of the most electric college football players, underrated college quarterbacks to come out in the last 10 years, who showed flashes this year, but he needs someone to help him hone his craft. He needs a quarterback's coach. He needs an offensive mindset. You get rid of Matt Nagy, and we get that. Matt Nagy had to go, but you bring in Matt Eberflus. No one even knew who Matt Eberflus was outside of Indianapolis, and then you rush to do it. I don't understand. Doesn't make any sense to me. The NFL, what was this? Who wrote this up? This is according to a guy named Cody Benjamin. I don't know who he works for, but he gives Eberflus a C+. I give Eberflus a D-, and I give Doug Peterson an A. I think those are the best and the worst coaching hires with a lot of fluff in between there. I like Brian Dable, too. He almost got it. Somebody needs to I don't think Brian Dable's ever worn a suit in his life. Did you see Brian Dable's suit for his press conference? Just go look. You'll get a good laugh. But those are my best and worst hires for the offseason. Now, This is going to be a big one. Can somebody please tell me why Eric Bieniemy cannot get a job in the National Football League? Enough of this already. Matt Eberflus is better than Eric Bieniemy? Really? His track record is better. You can't tell me Eric Bieniemy wouldn't take Justin Fields to the promised land. I'll tell you why. Because your past matters. I'm going to read you a little bit of Eric Bieniemy's rap sheet. Okay? Arrested, February 1998, bar fight, charged with disorderly conduct, fighting in public. Pleads to no contest after shoving a firefighter July 4th, 1990. September 1993 reports that he allegedly grabbed a female in the parking lot and by the neck and threatened her. A year later, he's banned from the University of Colorado. She states that he grabbed her and said something about a bunch of black males all at once, telling her about being their worst nightmare. They arrest him, DUI, April 2001. And then he's linked to allegations about the football program using alcohol and sex to lure recruits. A lot of people don't know this about EB. Now, I love EB, but we're not judging people based on what's happened in their past. Because I'm here to tell you, folks, if Dexter Reed opens his mouth and I spew my past on this table, I'm canceled from Grab It. I'm done. We are supposed to be hiring people based on what they can do in the National Football League, because we all know the NFL has their own dirt. So all of a sudden now we want to be the poster child of this is why he's not getting hired. Folks, do you remember when Mike Vrabel, Coach of the Year, was arrested for assaulting a man in college? He just got a contract extension. Or how about when he was arrested just a little over a decade ago for stealing? You're Coach of the Year. Theft. But Eric Bieniemy can't get a job because of his past. Folks, if it weren't for double standards, some people would have no standards at all.
Well, the thing is like, look at Randy Moss. Like, look how professional he is now. Thinking about his career, people like obviously what he did was bad, but
people change.
Yeah, people can mature. People can grow up. People can learn from their mistakes. And no one's heard anything about Eric Bieniemy since, other than that he's been a great offensive coordinator.
He is loved and revered in Kansas City, and I get a lot of the rap sheet that I read is really bad. But let me tell you something. 20 years ago, you would not have let Dexter Reed in your house. Michelle Mortensen would not have me over with her kids 20 years ago. This is just 100% factual. And I feel like I'm an upstanding man of God today. I wouldn't take a nickel off the street. Why is it that these guys aren't getting the opportunities that they deserve? Is it because he's black? Let's just come out and say it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or is it because of his rap sheet? You can't tell me. Let me look at this. Matt Eberflus, Nathaniel Hackett, Lovie Smith, Josh McDaniels, Dable, Dennis Allen, Kevin O'Connell, and Mike McDaniels. Those guys deserve a shot over Eric Bieniemy. I'm done, bro, before I get myself in trouble. Next, because it's the Super Bowl, we have to talk about the Super Bowl, right? Because that's why you guys are here. But I'm a big prop bet guy because the Super Bowl is full of them. I pulled it at Caesars. I was at work yesterday, and I pulled out the Caesars prop bet thing, big picture of freaking Jamie Foxx on it. You know what I mean? The thing was like 40 pages of the prop bets. So here are Dexter Reed's favorite prop bets for the Super Bowl this Sunday, okay? OddsShark has California Love at the top of the list, first song to be played at the halftime show by Dr. Dre and everybody else that's with him in that little entourage. And I don't see how that is not the first number. How is that not the first song? They're in California. Everybody knows that. California love. That's it. That's how you start the party. Plus 200. Put that money down. I love this one. Evan McPherson, plus 400. The first points in the game. Plus 400? You can't tell me that Cincinnati finds a way to get that ball first and kick a field goal. Rams defense is good. I love that all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. This is one I absolutely love. The Forgotten Man, Tyler Boyd, plus 190 to score a touchdown. Plus 190. He's done nothing for a while, and he's really, really good underneath. Just to score. That's all he's got to do. I love that. I go over on all Cooper Kupp's props because Cooper Kupp is Jesus out there. Over. I don't care what it is. Over. I go over on both quarterbacks' passing yards. I think they're going to light it up. I think Joe Burrow is a man that is just salivating. And I think Matthew Stafford knows that he's not getting the respect he deserves in the Super Bowl, and they're going to throw the ball over the yards. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 750 combined air yards between the two of them. Over. Go under on all quarterback rushing yards. The Cincinnati defense are finally going to give them their flowers, and they have played the run well. And you know Aaron Donald in the middle of the field plays the run well. On the other side of the ball, I go under there. I go under on all rushing yards for running backs. I go over for both quarterbacks' rushing yards. I could see both of them breaking one. I think Matthew Stafford's 5.5. I could see him scrambling for his life one play. I go over there, and I know that's plus a decent amount. But my best prop bet that my good friend Eric put me on to that a lot of people did not know that you need to know. So first things first. Every single Super Bowl starts with a ball that once it is kicked, that ball goes straight to Canton. That ball is never used again in the game. Nobody touches that ball but the refs. There's no deflate gate, none of that. The kicker doesn't get to warm up with the ball. He doesn't get to feel the ball, get a hold of it. He doesn't get to touch the ball. 26 out of the last 28 Super Bowls have begun without a touchback. We're indoors. Nerves. That ball is going to get kicked, and a guy's going to catch it and take that out. That right now on DraftKings is plus 110. 26 of the last 28 have not started with a touchback. That's money in the bank, folks. Money. And if you're a degenerate like me, you throw a couple bucks at that. The ball is tough. It's unweathered. It's unfelt up. And there's nerves. I think the only two Super Bowls were Niners-Ravens, and there was one other I can't remember where that ball came out first kick. That is a 94% chance that ball is falling into the hands of a kick returner. Take that money and run. All right. That's it for the mailbag, folks. I'm done shouting and screaming until I'm not. In the building, a man that needs no introduction anywhere in the civilized free world. To help me break down the Super Bowl and talk about his life and what he is doing. Oregon Duck, royalty. And if you don't know, you better ask somebody, okay? 6'4", 315 pounds of just the biggest teddy bear you'll ever see in your life. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to the stage here in about 30 seconds is Mr. Tyrell Crosby. You've been watching World of Matchups. My name is Dexter Reed. See you on the flip. Welcome back, everybody. And we are ending our calendar year by bringing in a stud, Mr. Tyrell Crosby, former Oregon Duck product, former offensive lineman for the Detroit Lions, has happily joined us to discuss his career, to discuss the Super Bowl, and then whatever else we want to throw on the table. A lot of people don't know that this guy is Utah born, but he's Vegas raised. This is a local product, and we are very appreciative of you coming in today, man. Welcome to World of Matchups.
Oh, thank you for having me.
All right, so let's get to the game right off the bat. All right, look, we want to get the predictions and the previews out there. Okay, all week long, all I keep hearing about is Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals and how this is a team of destiny, blah, blah, blah. And while I don't disagree with a lot of that, I have to tell you that I'm a big Matt Stafford supporter, and I have a hard time seeing how the Rams lose this game, okay? Now, we're not going to get into over-unders and any of that crazy stuff, or we can if you like. I'm telling you right now, I think 4.5 is a slap in the face. I love the Rams to win this game by at least a touchdown. I think the defense is going to be the difference. I know a lot of people see a lot of Tom Brady in Joe Burrow. I'm one of them, but it cannot be a one-man show. Guys like Von Miller were brought in for such a time like this. Guys like Odell Beckham were brought in for such a time like this. So I'm going to go over. I'm going to go with Rams -4, and I think the home field, albeit not a real home field in L.A., will make the difference. These guys are waking up in their beds and coming straight to the stadium. Your thoughts on this year's Super Bowl?
Yeah, so my thoughts, I mean, the Bengals haven't been known for their O-line, and the Rams are known for their D-line and their defense as a whole. So it's going to be an interesting game. Definitely a game one up front. So whoever wins that battle in the trenches is going to win that game.
Yeah, and we already know that if you can't protect, you can't win.
Yeah.
And we've seen that offensive line on Cincinnati be a little suspect from time to time. They did really well versus Kansas City, but they did give up 9 sacks versus the Titans, and there's nobody on the Titans that's the caliber of guys like Von Miller and Aaron Donald. I do think they're going to have to double Donald. As an offensive lineman and former offensive lineman. What do you do to try to stop a guy like Aaron Donald coming at you a million miles an hour? Did you ever play against Aaron Donald?
Yeah,
you did, right?
So you really just got to stay in front of him. He's so fast with his hands. And that's the hard part with that defense. You have Leonard Floyd, you have Von Miller, you have Aaron Donald, Justin Hollins. Like, it is a legit front. Greg Gaines is another powerful D tackle. So you got to double team somebody, but that frees up a Von Miller, that frees up a Leonard Floyd, who are both very talented on the edge. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. And like you said with the Chiefs game, like if the Bengals show up as an O-line and play consistent like they did that game, it'll be a very close game.
It'll be close, yeah.
But if they show up like they did against Tennessee,
it's over.
That D-line will have a field day, and they really do rally around one another. If you watch them get a sack, that entire sideline, that entire defense is all cheering. And when you're on the other side of something like that, it's not fun.
It's not fun at all. I can imagine. What's your prediction? What's your score prediction? I'm gonna go 31-21 Rams. Pull away late.
I'm gonna pull not Cincinnati. The Simpsons had this game. Did you see that? Simpsons, I think they said 27-30 or like 33-30.
I saw that.
Yeah, so I'm like, I might lean on to whatever the Simpsons said.
I like that. I think they picked Cincinnati too. I
plus
saw that. They haven't always been right, but a lot of what the Simpsons have said in the past has come to fruition. So I definitely could deal with that. It's getting to the point with me where I'm starting to kind of feel very Tom Brady-ish with Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Every time I bet against him, I'm wrong. Every single time. Every single time. And I think that if this turns into the type of thing where I bet against him again and he pulls this Super Bowl out in year 2 coming off that huge injury, we're happy Tom Brady's retired, but here comes Tom Brady Jr.
Yep.
It could be that type of thing. If they ever get their offensive line together, Cincinnati's going to be a team that's going to be forced to be reckoned with in the National Football League now for the next 10, 15 years with those weapons.
Yep.
So let's pivot. You're a local product. You play in Green Valley. You get drafted. You go to Oregon. U of O is a great place to play.
Yep.
You break your ankle versus Nebraska. At that point, what's going through your head?
That was an interesting thing. So it was like my 5th met on my foot going into that season during training camp. I was like, I'm having weird foot pain as we're doing different conditioning stuff. And so I go over, talk to the trainer, and my buddy Justin's like, sounds like you might have a broken foot. Mm. So I was like, oh, there's no way. So that's a pretty common injury in football. So I've seen guys go through it. I've heard about it, but I was like, oh, that's never going to be me. So happened, it was me. So go get it looked at, found out I had a stress fracture. And so it was a weird moment of, do I get the surgery now? Because I'm going into my junior year, just came off a really good sophomore year. So I was questioning if I get the surgery, just try to play through it. Maybe it lasts and just heals itself. Unfortunately, 3rd game of that season versus Nebraska at Nebraska. I think it was like a 28-yard touchdown run by Tony Brooks-James. It's a power. So I'm coming off my double team to climb up to a linebacker. As I plant my foot, I just hear a pop. And it was the craziest thing because Nebraska is known for having their fans that bring over 100,000 fans to that game. Like, that's the biggest city in Nebraska at that time, is that stadium. So through all that crowd noise, I could hear my foot just snap. And immediately I knew what was wrong. And in my head, I'm like, I'm going to just try to walk it off real fast. And then I see Tony just sprinting past. And I'm like, this dude's about to score a touchdown, and I got to do field goal. So I'm hobbling down because it scored, so I got to do field goal before I can get off the field. And so I'm hobbling down, get lined up, and we call the trick like field goal play. So now I have to jog to the hashes on a broken foot, and I'm just like, this is not fun right now. And so we do that. I do my best to try to maintain that block. Did a terrible job, go figure. But get back to the sideline and look over to my coach. I'm like,
I'm hurt.
I think it's broke. And so naturally he's like, asked me if I can play on it, what I can do, try to tape it up to see if I can handle that pain, which I couldn't. Had to walk to the x-ray machine room, got it x-rayed, and then they're like, oh yeah, it's broken. And then they gave me crutches, and that was probably the funniest moment of my life because that was my first time using crutches, and I'm on the opposite side of the stadium from our locker room. So I got to go past the field, so I'm crutching, and this is literally like my first time ever using crutches, and I am just overextending, and I am almost falling every single stride, and I'm just looking at the crowd, just trying not to embarrass myself by falling, and I finally get to the locker room, and then I slipped. I was like, I made it so far, and I was so close, and then I finally slipped. But luckily, it was in the locker room, so I was the only person that noticed.
Yeah, well, you bounced back really well.
Yeah.
Because you come back from your junior year to your senior year, and all of a sudden, you're your first team Pac-12. And from there, having a fantastic season. And we've got some footage of you trucking some dudes, and a lot of people don't know, okay? This is an athletic, 6'4", 315-pound gentleman, dunking over people, moving the pile, pushing people all over the field. There's a reason why you get drafted, okay? You go 5th round to the Detroit Lions, who need help everywhere, and you make an impact right away, okay? You're not a household name, but you should be.
I appreciate that.
But you should be, because I think offensive linemen don't get the love that they deserve. They get nice watches, and they get, some coats from the quarterback, but without you, the quarterback is nothing. That team should be one unit, and that job that you do and had done was fabulous coming out of U of O, and then you go to the Lions, and the rest is history. Sadly, you get hurt after playing a couple of years for the Lions, and you get waived with an injury designation, and here you are.
Yeah.
What is going through your head when they release you?
It was interesting. That was my first time going through that process. So maybe just kind of jump on the phone with my agent, kind of go over the steps. And it was a unique situation, especially what was going on because I was going through injuries. So kind of figure out what we need to get done. So get injury waived. And through that whole process, that was my first time going through anything similar to that. So it was all new to me. Had to ask a lot of questions, and end up finding out what was wrong with me. Get put on IR for the team. So finished throughout the year on IR. Now I'm just trying to rehab to get back to healthy.
Boy, that's tough.
It's definitely tough. And
The NFL stands for not for long. That's why I will never be against a player getting paid.
Yeah.
Never. I don't care.
Yep.
Get that money, because a lot of people don't realize what happens in those trenches. These guys sacrifice their bodies to bring us entertainment, and one wrong hit, and it's over. So we talked a little bit before we came on live about what the future looks like for you, and I thought to myself, well, could this guy potentially play again? I don't know how bad his back is. Your thoughts on the future if the phone rang?
Right now I'm just trying to take it one day at a time, really. Just trying to get back to healthy, get back to normal. Have some side projects outside the league that I'm working on, one being the insurance lounge. But really just trying to focus on getting back to being able to even play.
Yeah, I totally hear that, man. And we wish you nothing but the best. We wish you well. I know, not from personal experience, but when things like this happen, it kind of derails like your thought pattern of what you thought the next 10 years would look like. Our mutual friend, Dila talks a little bit about what he thought his life would have looked like, and then tragedy strikes, and then all of a sudden, God's got a different plan for you. Let's talk about Insurance Lounge.
Yep.
Sponsor of the show. Thank you, Insurance Lounge. Check out Insurance Lounge, folks, for all your insurance needs, online, in person. That's the way to go, okay? Let us know what you're doing in that capacity.
Yeah, so I just franchised a location, first one in Nevada, which is exciting. It's my first kind of business venture. Right now, just finished signing up the lease, about to start my build-out process, and it's been a real enjoyment for me just because I've been so sports world my entire life, and kind of now this is my opportunity to learn business world, and it's just been a blast just because it's been so much learning, and I love to learn. I love to educate myself, and that's what this entire process has really been. Is everything I'm doing is new to me for the first time, and it's given me the opportunity to really lean on people like Dila to like pick his brain, figure out how everything works. I have a buddy named Alec who's been phenomenal, just understanding the business aspect. That's what's kind of been going on right now.
That's great. And it just goes to show that there is life after football. Sadly, for so many athletes in the NFL, football is what they know. Football is all they know, and then they retire, and they're not really left with a lot. A lot of people think, well, I'll just get a booth job, or I'll just do this. I'll just commentate. Not everybody is Bill Cowher.
Yeah.
Not everyone gets Sean Payton's, potential opportunities pushed in front of them. Some of these guys really have nothing to fall back on. And so I'd like to say to all you athletes out there, let this be a lesson to you that, one bad thing can happen, and all of a sudden your hopes and dreams are dashed, and you're presented with an opportunity to do something different and still be successful. And I think that's what Tyrell is showing you guys, is that it can be about football, but you definitely want to have some other things brewing, because you'll be another athlete that no one cares about, sadly.
Yeah.
And that's sad. That's the hardcore truth, but that's what we bring here at Grab It, is the hardcore truth. It's the crowd is not always going to be chanting your name
Yep.
for 20, 30, 40 years like a Joe Montana or a Tom Brady. Some of us little guys have to grind and start over. So let's end with a little controversy. I follow you all over the place, and I like something that you said, and a tweet that you sent out in January went viral, that you felt like as athletes, if we're not allowed to bet, why are the government officials allowed to buy stock and stock options, and some things have happened recently around that where, like I said earlier, if there were no double standards, some people would have no standards at all,
Exactly.
and you said that, and it just blew up, and there was a whole bunch of whole lot of brushback, but you also said that NFL is real life.
Yep.
A lot of people think that the NFL is just this game we play, and they have no idea what goes on behind the NFL. I've worked for the NFL. I've seen what goes on. I've seen what it takes. Speak to that.
Yep. So to the first tweet, I think I was in bed. It was I think 1-ish in the morning, and I saw a FanDuel commercial go on about betting the Super Bowl, and that's where that the thought process triggered. I'm like, last year, I knew the Bucs were going to win by easily over 10. That defense, that offense, you're not stopping it. Yeah. And then I was like, if NFL players could bet, that'd be insane. Because one, if you're betting on your team, you never know the sway. There's a lot of pull you can do, and it ruins the integrity of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So then it got me to thinking, because I'm a public policy major. I love public policy. I love reading it and all that, and just know the impact it can have on the marketplace. So that's where I started really thinking. I'm like, how often do politicians sign bills, pass policy, and do any of that and benefit from it financially?
Every day.
Exactly. So it's just
every day.
Makes you
wonder.
Exactly. And it's just the integrity of, are they doing that for the correct reasons to benefit the people that are around them, the people that have voted them into those office spaces, or are they doing it just to benefit themselves, their family, and do all that? Because then it's it really just makes you question how trustworthy that candidate is.
And that's a whole and boy, Grab It is, we're big on politics here at Grab It Television. We have a whole bunch of different political aspects and views that come out from different shows daily. But I like people that are willing to pull other people's sheets. I like people that are willing to not be so much side takers but truth seekers.
Exactly.
And I saw that, and I it made me like you even more.
I appreciate that.
You know what, it made me like you even more. So, on behalf of Grab It Television, Spencer the Wiz, myself, Michelle Mortensen, and everybody else involved in this process, we really thank you for coming on. You know, we're building World of Matchups from the ground up. I've sent 1 million letters out to players and never heard back. So when we get an actual player to not only do a Skype show, but to come in and be willing to give up their time, we are 100% behind you and super, super appreciative of what we do. We look forward to working with you guys in the Insurance Lounge in the future. We're going to definitely run this back and do this again next year. Spencer and I are about to meet and brainstorm what we can do to be better, to bring everybody the NFL news, but to bring everybody real life with real players, because most people have no idea what happens in the National Football League during, after, and, you know, it doesn't always end well. You know, here's a situation where, for the most part, it has ended well. And so we wish you well in your rehab. We hope everything comes back even better. We're praying for you that everything goes well, and we look forward to having you here again in the future, my man. Thanks again for coming on.
I appreciate you having me.
Always. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tyrell Crosby. And that's our show, folks. That's the last show of the NFL calendar season for us here at World of Matchups. We will have a host of people that we want to thank, but we're not going to list them off. We'll run them through the credits. But just know that if you have been part of this, we are in your debt. Nothing like building something from the ground up, and Spencer and I have loved doing it, bringing you guys real talk for real understanding on the National Football League week in and week out. And just remember, you are currently watching the most comprehensive, productive, and progressive uncensored National Football League television show to hit the big screen this year. On behalf of Grab It Television, my name is Dexter Reed. That's Spencer the Wiz, my man T. Crosby. You have been watching World of Matchups. Enjoy the Super Bowl, everybody. We'll be back with some new stuff real soon. Take care.
Everybody to the Wild Wild West, a state that's untouchable like Elliot Ness. The track hits your eardrum like a slug to your chest. Like a vest for your Jimmy in the city of sex. We in that sunshine state where the bomb ass him be. The state where you never find a dance floor empty and pimp speed. On a mission for them greens. Lean, mean, money making machines serving fiends. I've been in the game